Welcome everyone. Fuck the system. Did I knock on wood? It's not wood though. Part of my formality. Alright, with that aside, we got some interesting things going on. This channel, I basically, since I was oops, close that. Since I was looking into this area and it led me into Arizona, I was thinking, well, maybe I should look into some of these states down here. So let's just put the states on for this region. So like this chunk of the Ammonite shape is in Arizona, so a pretty good amount. A good amount is in Utah. Good amount is in New Mexico, maybe a little bit in Colorado, southwestern. But I arbitrarily kind of was like, well, maybe I'll just go search like Arizona geology, and I found third on this list, a 2-mile crack. So given that what we're kind of like, that's a little weird, so I clicked it. End up finding they are down here somewhere. I couldn't actually find them on the map. I might have found one. Where was it? To the east. Apparently they're between Tucson and Casa Grande. Somewhere in this region there are these things opening. I could have sworn I saw one that I was like, okay, that's gotta be one, like over here. But it got me looking in the region, so like, let's see what we got here. Fissures, I-17 landslide features along I-17. Let's see where that is. I-19. Where's I-17? Why? Okay, well, whatever. Since wait, no. Yeah, where's 17? Is it further north? There's 17. Maybe over here. Does it just start there? That's a little odd then. I guess it's here. Oh yeah, here it is. It must be here. Okay, so whatever I was just looking at in this slide is not where we're looking, but that's of note, I guess. Earth fissure rupturing. Peoria, Arizona. Somewhere down here near Phoenix. So there's Casa Grande, there's Tucson, so not that far away. And still, like, in this kind of material, like, it seems like it goes up around here. And maybe up here. So many cool things I found that I hope to get to. So basically, I was like thinking about it, like, well, okay, so there's cracks here. Like, okay, at some point I just like accepted, okay, somewhere there's like cracks forming, like maybe this. I think this one, this is the one I found that I was like, okay, maybe that. And then this video, as well as the next video I found on it, this one. They both suggested, they didn't mention specifically why. They suggested it was from basically from taking the water underneath for farming and so basically they said the farmers did it. Like, oh damn, they're blaming the farmers. I'm like, is it the farmers though? I mean, maybe the farmers are contributing to it, but the way they're in these like long straight line things, this video maybe shows it better.
Length of the new geological.
Just like it makes me think like maybe there's some kind of drainage system that occurred that was spaced, that's essentially more subtle particles flowed through at higher flow rates, maybe like around the larger masses, and then as they did though, it basically allowed for a channel for current to flow later, and then it over time created these voids that now are starting to like collapse into the channels and show the presence of those channels that were there maybe. And it's not necessarily so much that the farmers are taking the water as just like time is passing. I mean, they're moving. It sounds kind of concerning for the area. I don't know what to make of it. And so with that in mind, let's turn this off. Let's go full screen here. So here's this, right? Do you guys see what I'm going to point to? Mind you, there's a spiral here. So this is what we've been talking about. A spiral that formed this way, going counterclockwise here. That was forming off of a larger clockwise motion up here somewhere. Generally centered here-ish, I feel like. That maybe went over Greenland and across this way, but then maybe went across this way before Alaska was there, and like this way. Because that got all moved and placed there later on. So that there was a channel that generally went this way, but continued across here, I believe. Generally across to here, and all this got kind of added from elsewhere. So essentially, this is rotating here clockwise, which is a gear in essence, counterclockwise here, so that where they meet, they're flowing in the same direction. And then down here is clockwise again, so that where they meet, they're flowing in the same direction, counterclockwise down here going this way, clockwise at the top going this way. So they, again, like support one another. They're not like running into one another. So they just stabilize like gears to like more readily transfer energy. Maybe that's just like how it ends up occurring when enough energy is present. And this rotates here. So notice there's that center there, and then a larger center around it that spirals out more. And then it goes into that feature here that this spiral over here is sending energy across. So this current and this current are interacting, producing this window section, which then the current's going across here and down here and creating the Carolina Bays, seemingly. So just showing the actual time frame more accurately, perhaps. And so there's this one here. And then in recent videos I've talked about, like, even though the current goes in a circle here, like it also leaves the circle and goes this way and goes down into this region, like especially down through this channel. Right that way. This way. But if you notice, if we zoom out, this spiral here then is feeding down this way, where we then see like general patterns that have a boundary here, right here, right here, that's circular, or semicircular at least, and then across this way, generally over here somewhere, maybe up here. So not like completely circular, but having that type of characteristic, which suggests strongly, so because there's other stuff going on over here that's sending a current this way, that's related to the magnetic anomaly map that we can kind of see where it was happening from this. This was sending a current up this way through this way, which seemingly was going through this way, generally producing like a boundary like around here, all the way up here, a boundary where anything to the west went essentially into this region, as well as like seemingly perhaps going this way and then turning, like anything all the way over here, like as far over as possible in this general current, runs into the Sierra Nevada batholith and just hits this resistance. And so it divides there and goes mostly this way, but then also this way along this channel, the San Andreas fault line, basically, like as the main current, kind of like these Arizona things. Like these are probably a good example of what's happening, is like the main current is the most subtle particles that are just flowing through at a higher velocity, but then they're creating a relative void space afterwards because they're more easily transported. Once things stabilize, they like can get transported out. And so it basically leaves this void space, especially probably with like weight pushing down on them, that just kind of squeezes them out. And then they end up running out into somewhere where then they drain, and then the support structure's gone. But like, seemingly it happened where a current went this way, related to this beam coming directly from the center here, where this magnetic field is forming, essentially figure 8 flow from two currents interacting here and here at this width, coming across, interacting with another current here that at their final boundary creates this figure 8, which then induces currents that go down this way and bend back, and over this way and bend back, as well as a current that comes up this way and just cuts through like a jet stream, extremely cutting through to a point, but it's actually happening over here through this region. Possibly from here to there. Possibly. I mean, that would make sense, like at the boundary. The final boundary where the current that comes out this way and then fans out. Maybe it fans out from like right here, up this way and up and down this way, where it runs into underneath North America here, so it doesn't actually produce. This is later added when the Pacific Western Plate moves away, and then currents flow into this region, which then fills here, but it didn't form there because there's a wall there where this current's going up and into the wall and hitting the wall and forming along the wall. But then there's a boundary here that's missing, so it seems like the current that went up this way just blew out the boundary here. Like a triangle shape here that was kind of another wedge that this portion was behind, and then it got through it, so it even seems to be getting through it at that point, although it runs into something here. Like if here's the nose, like here is maybe where it's running into that something, like right here. Which is, I guess, the current that's coming up this way, it's not cutting through. Basically, it's gathering resistance here, which then creates like a swirling eddy, maybe, around that location underneath the crust, enough to basically open space here. But then, maybe... this is probably related to the current coming from over this way, though, too. There's just so many interactions. There's a current also coming this way that goes across here and down through here. Or across here, and maybe across here. Probably more there, through this region and across. This one probably goes more up that way. Separating at this separator, I guess. And also, I guess, going this way. And generally, maybe down through across, although I don't see where that is here. Anyway, going that way, which is hitting here. So the current going this way is hitting that current going this way, which is creating this like sturdy wall that this other current coming up through carves a channel through at, like, past its epicenter. Like, this region is like where this current from here going across this way, it's not like hugely wide, it's not the whole space, it's like a certain width that's really essentially producing this, influencing the current that's moving this way to like not be able to move further over, so it's not actually creating these straight lines through this region. So it's like hitting it just at the nose, which is, again, this goes like this. Starts here, goes down, up, down, up, down, with the nose there, right, probably right where this and this one kind of meet, like around here-ish. And then above it is that arc. But this separator is formed between the two currents that is this batholith support structure, which then continued, though, up here, but just like this current overwhelmed it here. It's probably more approaching over here. Also, these are on top of each other. So much that there's a current coming this way. But like this is forming like seemingly atop it or below. I think atop it. below it. So that the flow going across it, I'm just thinking like why this is not like redistributed into, maybe it is even into the Philippines that were here, and Sulawesi that was here, which are now over here, Philippines. And these were over here. So this current was flowing this way and moving things like generally into them, but also etching them out. So maybe it was just taking like all the material that it was moving that way, like ran into them and just moved up that way because the current itself was etching those out as well and bringing the material up this way, which then accreted over here and accreted and accreted around the time of the KT boundary, because this is what was actually happening, is this was causing the KT boundary, this process. Oh, fuck the system. Until it maybe, my thoughts are like closed this off so that a current that was flowing this way just couldn't make it that way anymore. So it essentially ended up blowing into the Pacific and just opening all of the bonds that were broken at 65 million. So maybe, let's see, YouTube, Nick Zentner, he was very applicable, this video I was just checking out earlier. I think it was in this one. Let's find it. Yeah, okay, we're gonna look for when everything starts to move.
But among these different models,
Pardon me, Nick. Okay, it's still not moving. Okay, there we go. Here we go. I'm a little too far. Playback speed, half speed. Okay. So it's just kind of, this is my thoughts, is like this stuff, if I remember right, this stuff was from Europe, in that area, Siberia maybe even, and got brought through this way, and then it's hanging out over here, where this stuff seems to be the Philippines itself, its constituents that are taken out, where this is, I think, like Sulawesi maybe, or Papua New Guinea. Maybe this is Philippines and Sulawesi and North Maluku Islands, where this is Papua New Guinea based material. I'm not sure until we play, but let me just show you guys so you're not like, what? Like this material, all the material in here that's missing, all the material in there that's missing, like it got brought up this way with the currents and just deposited over top this. So I'm thinking maybe like that's what that's representing, is those chunks that are getting brought up that are just kind of hanging out off the coast here. Maybe that's some other source. Farallon. Let's see what happens. That might be Baja California. Oh. Whoa. But notice it's just kind of hanging out though. Up here is not really closed. It's starting to close. 72. It's 67. It's still kind of hanging out here. But then it just slides up by like 50 and then it's there. So like 67 to 50, it just slides up in there and forms Alaska pretty much as we see it today. And then I guess I don't know. I don't know what to make about the Baja California aspect of it. Okay, but so there's certainly a circle here. We can see the circle here with another kind of circular center here. Maybe let's find another map. What's that map I had? I have so many tabs. Kind of see maybe that's it, but this map is hard to say because it doesn't actually show. It seems like it's not the actual image until we get close enough. That one's not that useful. Bing map. Sure, let's see. Okay, we can see it here already. It's definitely there. It's not some weird artifact of mapping. Okay, so let's go on now. Where? Oh, that's why. So we see this circle, but mind you, if there's a current flowing here in a circle, that then some of it goes down this way, through this way, like literally right here, but then through all the way down here, generally, with a boundary all the way about here that goes down. So mind you, like the inner circle is like at this boundary, where the outer circle is pretty much at maybe this boundary. Where this current flow is like going down this way, but then it's interacting with another current. Like, mind you, there's a current flowing physically over here as well as over here. That's like creating layers here of hot magma that's interacting with water, and down through here, and then under here and across. So there's a general trend pushing currents this way, as well as that current pushing up this way. So there's currents that seem to have a boundary at the boundary of this inner circle up through there, that actually, if we look at like we can see lines here that seem related, like to that flow going that way. Whereas over here, they seemingly go more this way. So it's like they come in and divide off this way, like generally over here especially, and start going more this way, like away from this though. and just across into this region. Maybe even like generally we're split down through here, like coming in through there. Although is that very visible because of dams? Yeah. Hard to say. I mean, it seems like that's probably still like a general inlet channel that got carved a bit. So maybe it's like this is coming across, but there's a current going this way that's holding resistance, maybe. So this current that's trying to get out has like a pressure to it as well, so it's etching even more. Maybe something to do with that, where it just is like coming in and filling this with pressure of presumably water flows involved in large quantities that sweep out through here. So there's another gear. So here's this gear. So I think the water is going counterclockwise, but the earth itself is going clockwise. And that the clockwise aspect might be tied to this current flow that comes down from the Bighorn Mountains. Here's Bighorn Mountain, magnetic anomaly underneath it, with this feature around it. That's huge, showing just how huge Bighorn Mountain really is. Like, it reaches the base of the crust, I guess. Presumably this is pretty much Bighorn Mountain all the way up to Bighorn Mountain. I don't know. But then down here, just like over here, where there's these like legs coming off of this feature that go like this way and this way, there's these outward flowing legs here that are very generally in a position relative to that as well. Why was I talking about that? Oh yeah. So like here's Bighorn, that flow goes down here. Let's find its base. Like right here. 104, 35.69 minus 104.36. 35.69 minus 104.36. I think that's... It's pretty much at this stretch. Is there. Bighorn Mountain, this stuff. Bighorn Mountain, notice the space, and then stuff. That reaches down to here pretty much. So like a current flow is going maybe this way, that then more so spiraled here with subtler particles, maybe like the dense stuff made the mountains, but it was caused to spiral. I don't know, something also to do maybe with the heat exchange. So many things going on here that are just like, what in the... It's like a... Like, this is going down to Santa Fe, baby. What could it be doing? Like, if there's an object, if this is happening, carving up this way, doing this, so that these things are projecting into here. So it's even lower, it's like down here. I think I placed it here, literally, as the starting point, until maybe it punctured this hole. Maybe that's what happened, is it literally started there, punctured this hole, which then was like a secondary outlet point and inlet point to just, it's kind of like if you drink something without allowing air to flow in, it doesn't really work as well as if you like allow an exchange with a puncture hole like this. So that maybe that puncture hole is made by the currents that were eddying atop it, that then were like going in all directions, including down, with like a jet just like this, but downward. That punctured it, and then that allowed for it to start to move away and spread away. I mean, even if we look at it, like it goes right to it here, and then maybe up there. Also, it kind of bends there. This goes generally to like here. Bends down to like here. So like that flame is starting here, going over here, and burning into like here. This like out of the bottom, like a flame structure here. Like a rocket engine. Oh my god, like a rocket engine. I don't know what that means, but it probably means something good. Well, at least something means something, probably. But that's probably where it was, is here, and then shooting a beam this way, going up this way. Up here, but maybe it was initially going into here, like exchanging. That's right, this doesn't really put it the same. Well, I'm just looking too early. Probably just looking too early. Like, it started to open the Pacific somewhat, and things started to turn, like Australia and the relative positioning of these two. I feel like this was always connected here, though, so I'm not sure how I feel about this. so what? Oh shit! Just like wait, that's not the only thing that kind of rises up to. Rises up. Like over here, it's flowing this way, but then it starts to rise up against this other current that flows this way. So they're flowing like this, but then as it gets approaches it, it just meets more resistance until they like rise up, especially up here, up here. Which if the dragon's here, this is not, like, this is directly... Whew. That, I mean, it's gotta be like this current brings the sphere of Hawaii. The sphere of Hawaii was forming right here. A sphere was forming here that had the current swirling on it. And then it punctured the mantle again. And then internal pressure again vented from this location. But it caused the particle to flow this way and pass through the North America pretty much. Until it ran into Baja California region, where it actually hit North America. Because over until then, it was, I guess, going out here, across like this way, maybe. Although, what exactly this was like at the time, I'm not sure. I think it started to spread enough where it could go this way without impacting this region, although maybe something happened here where these circular ring type things are kind of here. But then it hit there, presumably, and maybe it just went even more to the right. To the right. Um. Let's see, maybe we need this again. Where is that at? I think it's there. Okay, here we go, here we go. Oh my gosh. I swear. I swear Hawaii goes up through here and like goes in here. Like this right here, this, like it definitely, obviously it's here. Like it's here. But if there's a sphere rolling around the planet, like this maybe makes sense that it would have done that there. But then there's also this over here that's kind of weird. Like it almost looks like a sphere did it again. And then again over here, where I feel like it was ejected this way and then maybe went up through here where it went out into this region and hit over here, hit down here, came down here. I don't know if that makes any sense. Where the current was like slicing and still focusing, like it's spreading. Like how in the... It's hard to picture what was going on with regard to North America and Asia without a true Earth expansion based like map. It's hard to picture it because it's always got the Pacific, and they were just not like that. So we had, I guess let's try this again. But this was turning, sliding down, re-establishing a temporary connection between the two of Australia and the Laurentian Shield, but where Papua New Guinea reconnected at the pole. Oh my god. Oh my god, is that fucking weird? It's weird, the laugh. Oh, when I realized how fucked things are, like, oh, is that what's gonna happen? Maybe it wouldn't happen if it weren't for me speaking into being. Fucking A, dude. Even with the fuck the system mug. We got a duo combo today. Drawing this chakra for a while. So current's coming this way, generally, I guess. That's what it sounds like from over here, from this way, which is then meeting a resistance here and cutting this region, which is then pushing it open across this whole boundary, I guess, to a degree, down to actually between India and Asia, the rest of Asia, like cutting the Tethys open. Cuts the Tethys open and then turns Australia to then have Papua New Guinea connected to around Baja California area, where islands, they're not, I mean, that's part of the problem, is there's islands, they're not attaching, but like I feel very strongly that Philippines was connected to Australia right here, and Sulawesi there, in a way where it had to be, like, even then, like, this is just kind of put there because we don't know what to do with it. That's right, that's right, that's right, oh my god. So this current goes up that way, right? And then it goes up this way, presumably continues straight so much so that it opens the earth wide, comes back down this way. Maybe, is that possible? Where it's like, the reason I'm contemplating this is this right here. Like it cuts, it, oh my god. It cuts here. It's so hard to explain without. Borneo gets cut off of the Philippines, which was attached inside here long ways. Which the Philippines were attached here to Sulawesi, which was down here. So it was this way, and then Philippines, and then Borneo. Which then got shoved up this way against resistance, opening the ocean, but then bending down this way and coming down this way with that like etched line still visible and just shoving it along the way, producing this like these things. Where the Hawaiian sphere was divided away when it runs into this batholith resistance. Like, boom, hits it, dong, and then it starts breaking apart because it hits it, maybe even. I wonder if there's evidence of some ridiculous things suggesting it got hit, like this huge impact on the side of it or something. That would be cool. That doesn't, it's repeated, so maybe not. Although maybe, where is that circle? This is here. So basically the thought is the sphere of Hawaii somehow gets here and then starts rolling down this way. So maybe it came along here and to here, and then the ocean opened so that like the current was flowing up this way, running into this point, pushing Hawaii here to here. And then it started to open between it so that the current like moved over, and then it was essentially flowing into it from over here. But as that happened, the resistance it cooled, the process slowed, and the Eastern Pacific became more dominant, as well as just all the entire oceans. Like, this region didn't have to be where all the pressure was, so it went into all of the oceans. Thereby connecting the points so that it went up over here, connect, and then like still stayed connected as it opened. But then Hawaii was no longer under the pressure of the current, so it started to roll towards like the equator, I guess. But it runs into resistance of this region where current's flowing across. Maybe it gets caught in a cross current that's flowing in this way and just gets caused to move with that current. Like, the currents are probably flowing below the layers to a degree, and it's probably interacting with them. And then it breaks apart, deposits its constituents, and leaves behind the Hawaiian Emperor Island, or Hawaiian Emperor Seamount chain. I feel like that's honestly not too bad. Like I'm making connections. Okay, so this swirl and then this swirl. I noticed immediately. Okay, we're crossing oceans here. Like now we're hitting Papua New Guinea's boundaries. And that's when I started looking over here. I'm like, well, I don't see any immediate things, but like in the directly, like conjoining it. But in the same way, maybe there's some space between, like, this is more like a separator. I mean, it really is like a separator. Like, it behaved like one that was even separated. Maybe. But then down here, there's this. Where there's the two nodes. I mean, this is in the same way where maybe there's a current involved with the undercurrent of the hot magma flows that is exchanging with water. Is this salt? Like, that's gotta be salt, right? Or no? So I looked it up. Salt deposits, Australia. This is what showed up, was mostly over here. A couple places up here. These are so close to the coast that it's like, well, alright. Like, maybe that's useful, but it's not quite as useful as if I could find. Then I did this, because this kind of led me to, like, okay, well, maybe this question was not that useful. When was Australia underwater? Just kind of curious what it would come up with. And I showed this region, but not either of those, which is a little interesting. Because it doesn't just show any region, it shows right to that boundary of these systems. Like if it's some kind of heat exchange where like this is too hot maybe, and any water getting close to it just boiled away and just really deposited all the salt here that it just couldn't reach here. Although maybe it does look like it was reaching here, honestly, but maybe I'm a fool. I'm probably a fool. I mean, in some ways. Whoa. Whoa. Wow. Oh my god, look at that. Whoa. It's coming from right over there. Oh, it'd be so cool to trace all these on a map and just kind of be like, this is what's on the map. They're pretty distinct. Anywhere the current flows seem to be. But I was thinking that this here is hot. Maybe it would be having water really rush to it, but maybe it just was so hot it just couldn't get there. Evaporated it. Evaporated. Maybe it went across here, just right across. And then when it reached this, it have caused it to evaporate. Like in this region, it wasn't heat exchanging as much yet. Until it actually made contact, and then it started to really deposit salt. But where maybe this, like this flow is coming down this way, or down this way. Maybe it crosses atop it, and then the flow going up this way goes below it, which is why it cut it under. It cut under, maybe? Physically went under this current that's flowing generally this way, and then came up after the nose of the dragon. It like came upward, vented out this way, so that this current actually went down and across into like here. Let's see. Let's pull up. I mean, maybe it kind of went across to here. It's possible it kind of went that way. This image not as good as I was hoping it would be. Maybe, I guess this one. Australia here, so this current is going, this is better, this way, and towards here, towards down here. It's really not going that way, like this is Australia this way. It would have to be going this way pretty much. Unless it's going down this way and then running into resistance and going that way. Which is possible because this current is probably flowing across here. Across this way. From over here. This looks like it's flowing right. Like if we follow here to like this region. Like there was a channel here that connected from actually here and drained down into the channel. Flowing that way, which maybe then that would actually be more related to what's flowing over here. I don't know. I don't want to just start to kind of spitballing. Too much, at least. Yeah. Too much. Because that's pretty legit right there. Right there. Down Mexico is definitely these like strings of features that are kind of linear. This thing and this thing with their like larger structures around them. Kind of like a snake tail, rattlesnake tail kind of thing is what I'm thinking of. But it looks like it like literally continues up all the way to this here. Let's check that out. So it would be generally down here, I guess. Through here. It's probably these things related. That looks like it maybe has a line here. There. So here's that. Okay, so that's probably up this way and then back, up, back. So about the middle of the back, it starts to have currents going up that way. Although this is unclear. If it's more like these, it looks more like it's part of these than these. These look more like these do. All these out here are younger. I think these are younger, but these might be older right through the middle of the back. Wow, like there's a older, younger half above and below the body, or above the body. Crazy. Up, down, up, so like right from here. Okay, I'll be back. Thanks for hanging out. See you later. Peace out.